Hi, this is Katie Shell. I'm an intuitive healer and spiritual counselor. I work a lot with several modalities, including astrology, essential oils, and embodied movement. And I bring all of those pieces together in different ways to help people learn how to love themselves and trust their bodies. Um, when I sat down to make this video, it's Friday the 13th in January 2023, and I wanted to make a video about the divine feminine. And then I also have this Lilith embodied workshop coming up next week. And so I'm really excited about that. And it occurred to me that I don't really make videos about Lilith, and I haven't done that yet. And there's a couple reasons why. But this being Friday the 13th, it's another one of these kind of markers that we see in the world, in our society, that's about kind of suppressing and vilifying the divine feminine. And Lilith is about suppressing and vilifying the divine feminine in many ways. And so, why not bring those things together right now? What I want to talk about, and in this context in particular, is why it's so important in order for us to reclaim balance between the divine. Not, I know I say reclaim, that's wrong. To find balance between the divine masculine and divine feminine, because that never existed in human history. There was an overbalance of the divine feminine for tens of thousands of years. And then are now in this place from the last several millennia where there has been an overemphasis on the divine masculine. And so what we're looking to do, the next stage, the next step in human evolution, is for us to find balance between the divine feminine and the divine masculine. And as humans, we are experiencing duality so we can understand ourselves better. And because you have to have these mirrors, you have to have these experiences with other humans, with other people, to understand who you are and what we are as a collective, beyond human, because we are all one in the cosmic scheme of things. We are all one, but we are all, we are the universe experiencing itself. And so we have to have kind of this duality in order to have experiences in a physical world and have experiences in a physical body. And so this is all, as as I'm coming back, kind of turning this topic of this video is supposed to be about this divine feminine and why we have to raise her up, why we have to understand that in order for humans to evolve, we have to heal the pains of suppressing the divine feminine for the last several millennia. And one of the ways those come up is through this energy of Lilith, which has been vilified. And some people embrace her, and some people embrace her as some sort of goth cult icon. And that never really resonated with me. I was fine. Like, I get this, and it was fine with me. Whatever anybody does, whatever anyone identifies with, which helps them be more themselves, be stronger. I don't care what it is. It's not my place to say that this is the right way to do it or this is the wrong way to do it. But it never really, it never really resonated with me in that way until I started understanding this idea of Lilith as this being who needed sovereignty, this being who is the face of the divine feminine, of the intelligence of the divine feminine that is not understood by the divine masculine. This intelligence that is about our senses, about our instincts, about feeling with our bodies, because the divine feminine is Mother Gaia, is the goddess Gaia, which is the earth itself. And Lilith is a face of that we all have within us, that wants to kind of be free from the constraints of the logical rules of the divine masculine. Because, we look at the divine masculine as very structured. Whatever I'm talking about, whether I'm talking about essential oils or astrology, I'm talking, or any other thing, I'm talking about the divine masculine as being very structured, and it's a very necessary component to human life. The divine feminine is about intuition and instincts and feeling things. It's about being. It's about just being, rather about intellectualizing things in an action, and kind of this A to B, A to B, A to B. It's much more singular, whereas the divine feminine is much more globulous. It's much more wibbly wobbly, like, thinking of strings and moving in different directions and 10,000 things happening at once, rather than kind of this straight and narrow focus. Both of those things are necessary within our lives to create, to build, to grow, and 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 be comfortable as and learn from being human, because we need that structure in order to create something from the stuff that we experience and are with the divine feminine. So this it's again, it's critical for us to learn how to feel into our bodies and deprogram all of the things that tell us, that have been put in place to vilify our bodies, to vilify our instincts. Because how many times, this is the example I always use with this, is how many times have you had an instinctual feeling, because and you don't understand why, and you do it, and you're like, and then 5 minutes later, 10 minutes, a year later, after you've done it, you figured out, oh, that's why I did it. And that logical mind kicks in and sorts out the details and understands why you made that choice. But because you acted on it from the kind of that nuanced energy, that feeling, you were able to, achieve or do or whatever that you needed to do in that time. You did the quote unquote right thing. There's no right or wrong. I don't like talking right or wrong. Everything is learning. Everything, we can make mistakes and learn through them. There's no wrong way to do anything, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So, but our instinctual self knew what to do, because it was tuned in to Gaia. It was tuned in to these subtle energies that allow us to move quickly, which is something that was necessary before there was a pre-verbal piece of before humans were actively verbal. They needed that kind of primal instinct in order to act. So they're able to take in all of those things and act very quickly without thinking about it. As we think about it, we can share. As we think about it and sort things out, we can share things, we can build things, we can grow things. So it's wonderful to have both, but we have to learn how to still trust those instincts, because what happens when we don't? How many times have you had an instinctual thing happen where you've instinctually known this is right or wrong for me, yes or no, and you've not done it? And then you don't do it, and then something bad happens. Let's say something bad. It's not wrong, right, again, but something bad happens that wouldn't have happened if you trusted your instincts. So look at those all as opportunities to learn to trust your instincts better. And so we go into that kind of instinctual self and learn how to trust it. And in order to do that, we have to kind of devilify the divine feminine, the goddess, whatever you want to call it, this instinctual self, and know that just because we are following our instincts doesn't make us that we're doing something wrong. Because all of the programming, all of the conditioning that we've experienced is that you have to have a rational reason to do something. Well, my body knows. My body knows. I trust my body. And by tuning into the body, you are able to act on those instincts. And then you can use the brain to sort it out later and figure it out and explain it and learn how to do things like deconditioning from all of the things I told you that you're not supposed to do this stuff. And I believe that's part of the reason I have a trouble discussing the divine feminine, why I do so much stuff with embodied movement, rather than doing a lot of writing and a lot of videos on the divine feminine, on Lilith, because it is this very instinctual thing. That's why I like doing it through dance. I like doing it through movement. Again, I have the Lilith embodied class coming up next weekend. I'm hoping to at some point have more opportunities for people to be able to dive into that energy and explore that energy through physicality online. Again, that's kind of developing in the future, but it's, I believe that's one, it has been one of the kind of things holding me back, is because it's almost counterintuitive to me to do think and speak, even though it's something that is kind of constantly moving through my head and understanding it and writing about it. I have thousands of, not thousands, but I have hundreds, I probably have 1,000 pages on notes about understanding Lilith in myself, because I have a pretty, from an astrological point, I have a very prominent Lilith in my chart. And if you want to understand that, resources will be in the comments or in the description or somewhere. But my focus here is really, again, trusting yourself, and every day trusting yourself a little more and turning off those voices in your head that tell you your instincts are wrong, that tell you your body is wrong, that tell you, the trusting that, because that is how we heal the divine feminine. And sometimes we will get chastised for it. Sometimes we will be isolated. Sometimes we will be made to feel wrong because it threatens this whole, the kind of the structure that is currently in place and is being upheld by the divine masculine. And we have to find balance. We have to find balance. And so as we separate, we find our sovereignty, we reclaim our sovereignty, because this is, and we reclaim our own voice, because we have to be clear in who we are, and I talk a lot about, you have to put on your own oxygen mask before helping other people. And so that's another part of reclaiming this divine feminine, is separating from what other people tell us is right for us, and reclaiming what we feel is right for us. It's good to act as a community. It's good to build things together, because that's how we expand as a community. But we have to come back to our sovereignty, and we have to come back to our individuation in all of this. So I am going to stop right there. I will continue to talk about this stuff in different ways, and to continue to give more opportunities for people to really sink into their bodies. But in the meantime, think about it. We do have that mind, and we do have that ability, and we have that wonderful ability to really think about things and to catch ourselves when we're not doing things. Let me add that we do have that mind, does help us catch ourselves when we are falling into the traps that have of the conditioning that has been placed on that. So use that mind, use it to understand yourself better, and then allow yourself to trust your instincts. And if you're doing it a little bit and a little bit at a time, then you're going to find yourself better able to move within the world, better able to trust yourself, better able to, and to bring it all together, better able to love yourself and trust the messages of your body, and trust and feel more comfortable as a human on planet Earth.